So let us look at archetypal criticism. So archetypal criticism is began. Okay, it began with the study of anthropology. Anthropology is the study of primitive people. So um, in this world today, there are many kinds of primitive peoples that are in existence. Aborigines is one of them. Okay, so anthropologists study these primitive people because they want to know um, about themselves, actually what had happened in the past, and they believe that the primitive people have never evolved to a higher level. Okay, so they want to a higher level of civilization, so they want to see what human beings were during the past, and they look at these primitive people, they study them. So Sir James Fraser, who lived in the 19th century, also studied the primitive peoples around the world, and he came up with a book called The Golden Bow. It's a comparative study of the primitive origins of religion in magic, ritual, and myths. So he argues that we have many religions such as Islam, Christianity, Judaism, and these religions are actually evolved from myths and rituals, and also has elements of magic in them. So he believed that there is no God in that sense. Yeah? He believed religion came from rituals and myths. Yeah? So the central motive in Fraser's work deals with the archetype of crucifixion and resurrection, especially the myth describing the killing of the divine king. Now he found out that many of the religions in this world have archetype or symbolism which are akin to, which are similar to each other, and this archetype is concerned with birth and rebirth. I'm sorry, death and rebirth. So, in Christianity, for example, there is the death of Jesus Christ. They believe in the death of Jesus Christ, and that Jesus Christ will be brought back to life, will be resurrected before the end of the world, okay, before Yom Kippur, and he will fight the Antichrist, okay, or yeah, the Dajjal. So he will fight the Dajjal or Antichrist. So Fraser also looked at other religions, okay, such as Hinduism, and also found this idea of death and rebirth. Because Hinduism believed that Hindus will die and then will be reborn and so on. So among the primitive peoples, it was believed that the ruler was a divine or semi-divine being whose life was identified with the life cycle of nature and in human existence. Okay, so among primitive people, also the ruler, the figure of the ruler, the king, is always somebody who believes in, who is not believes, who is God. Considered by the people as being God or semi-God, half God, half man. So his life is connected to the life cycle of nature, the life cycle of things that are surrounding him. So when he is sick, the life cycle, the nature, his surroundings will become unwell also, will suffer, will suffer drought, for example, or other climatic disasters. Because of this identification, the safety of the people and even the world was felt to depend upon the life of the God King. So everything was dependent on the God King, the life of other people. So what happens is that when you have a healthy ruler, the life of the people will be safeguarded. But when you have a sick ruler, everything in this world will suffer. Everything surrounding the king actually will suffer. So the kings need to be killed. Okay, he needs to be killed in order for his spirit, the spirit of the divine being, to be transferred to another person who is healthy. So that others, so his surroundings will become healthy also. So this is the thing. The man god must be killed as soon as he shows symptoms that his powers are beginning to fail, and his soul must be transferred to a vigorous successor because it has been seriously impaired by pattern decay. Okay, so you have this idea in many religions as well. In Buddhism, there is a figure called Dalai Lama. Dalai Lama is like a religious figurehead. This is like the highest religious figure in Buddhism, and his this Dalai Lama is like a title. It can be transferred from one person to another, but Buddhists believe that um, the people chosen to represent Dalai Lama actually um, have his spirit inside of them. Okay, the spirit of the Dalai Lama. So it can be transferred from one person to another. So the Dalai Lama, I think right now we still have the Dalai Lama, the figure, but um, he is going to be replaced by a young boy, who is also he is the next Dalai Lama, because Buddhists believe that the spirit can be transferred to, uh, as he gets older, as he gets weaker, it has to be transferred to another person. Okay, so this is the idea behind this theory, behind archetypal criticism. Um, the other thing is kings were sometimes put to death because they wanted to ensure the longevity, prosperity of the people, as well as substitute figures were killed in place of the kings. Later on, they did not kill the king actually, but substitute figures um, or sacrifices that were made to appease the spirit, the spirit in nature, so that it will grant prosperity and what do you call that? Yeah, basically prosperity to the nation. And archetypes and the collective unconscious. Now, archetypes revolve. I'm sorry, no, it's not revolve, but evolved from this um, observation by Fraser with regards to death and rebirth, archetypes, okay, or archetype. And Carl Jung was the person who is responsible for the idea of the collective unconscious. Collective unconscious draws its inspiration from Freud's unconscious, which argues that inside of man is the sexual desire. Everyone has it. We try to fulfill it, right? But we cannot, because it's we are prohibited from doing so by our ego, super ego, our ego, and our ego, because our ego will mediate between our unconscious and the super ego. But in collective unconscious, Jung said that we don't actually have sexual desire, but we have images and stereotypes and symbols that are shared across cultures. So everyone in each of the culture have similar symbols, and it's collective because it involves a lot of people who share a belief in the same type of symbols for something that it signifies. Okay, so and then this beliefs, these unconscious symbols that we have in our unconscious mind will appear to us in the form of dreams and myths. Okay. So to Jung, an archetype in the collective unconscious cannot be represented, but has effects which make visualization of its possible, namely the archetypal images and ideas. So the archetype to which Jung refers are represented through primordial images that are that could be seen in in writings that were written a long time ago. Primordial means primitive, okay, or dates back to beyond history, or prehistoric times. Yeah. So a term he coined. Okay. Primordial images originate from the initial stages of humanity and have been part of the collective unconscious ever since, and is in our collective unconscious. So Jung came up with the term collective unconscious, but then the person who turned it to the study of literature is someone called Northrop Frye. He actually wrote Anatomy of Criticism, and this book lists all the archetypes that exist in literature and what they mean. Okay, and it came from the book. It came from an essay which he wrote before the book, which is the archetypes of literature. So Frye's work helped displace criticism. Yeah. So this is just some other information, but you need to know that he was the first to come up with this idea of archetypes in criticism. Now, later, you would have structuralism in literature, the study of literature through structuralism. Okay, so similar motifs of themes may be found in many different mythologies and certain images that recur in the midst of many people who live widely spread, separated in time and space tend to have common meaning. So he was looking at folklores, fairy tales, and he saw that the bad mother, for example, um, is always the stepmother. Okay, in many cultures, in Malay culture, we have bawang putih, bawang merah, right? The stepmother is always negative, somebody who is always cruel to her son. Mela Manja also is another story where the stepmother is cruel and evil. Okay. Now in English also we have Cinderella, Snow White. All stepmothers are evil in those stories. So he said that these archetypes, these symbols, are reoccurring in many cultures. Malay culture, English culture, and so on. These are universal symbols according to him. So there are many other symbols that um, that are written about in Northrop Frye's book. And some of these are images, they're related to images, colors, symbols, and motifs. So, in examples of archetypes concerning images, we have water. Water is relates to represents the idea of mystery of creation, birth, death, resurrection. The sea, the mother of all life, spiritual mystery, infinity, death, and rebirth. A river flowing of time into eternity. Sun, creative energy, law in nature. Rising sun, birth, creation, enlightenment. Setting sun, death. Okay. So if these elements appear in some of the movies or some of the stories that you have read, maybe they have something to do with these ideas that they represent. But not all movies or stories relate this connection or make this connection. Okay. So colors also, red signifies blood, sacrifice, violent passion, disorder. Green, growth, sensation, hope, fertility. Blue, usually highly positive, truth, religious feelings, spiritual purity. Black, chaos, mystery, the unknown. White, highly multivalent, light, purity, innocence, timelessness. And its negative aspects, death, terror, the supernatural, and the blinding of truth, of an inscrutable cosmic mystery. So these are just some of the things that they represent. Um, for example, this is a picture of, I think it's a picture of Lingam. Lingam. So god of fertility. So yeah, green symbolizes fertility. So the backdrop of this picture is green. So that symbolizes fertility. Yeah. And then egg, or circle and spear. Circle and spears are the image of a circle and sphere. In this example, we have different types of spheres or circles. So the first is egg type or oval type, and this is related to the mystery of life and the process of generation. The egg itself is symbolic of this process of generation, because if you go to Malay weddings, you have sometimes they will give you an egg, to take back home as a door gift. Now this egg symbolizes fertility or regeneration, the process of generation that the couple is expected to um, have, they're expected to have many children. So it's related to their fertility. Yang and yin is a Chinese symbol representing a union of the opposite forces of yang, masculine force, and yin, female principle, masculine and feminine principle. Um, Ouroboros is the ancient symbol of the snake biting its own tail, signifying the eternal circle of life, primordial unconsciousness, the unity of opposing forces. So, Ouroboros is this. If you look at if you Google it up, you can find it's a picture of a snake and then biting its own tail. So it's a kind of like a round snake, and this is representing, amongst other things, um, the eternal cycle of life. Okay, now the film The Ring, the third film of The Ring, has um, a woman, a student, who views this Ouroboros on her, if I'm not mistaken, on her computer, and after that she is cursed. Okay, in the earlier films, Ring 1 and 2, is the picture of Samara that one sees, right? Coming up from the well. Okay. But Samara apparently had been killed off in, I think, Ring 2. I'm not really sure. But then she reborns herself. She gives herself another life through the third picture, um, Ring 3. So it aptly features a Ouroboros because it says something about being reborn after death. Okay. Um, the numbers are also archetypal images. 3 represents spiritual awareness and unity, the male principle. 4 it represents life cycle, female principle, earth nature, 4 elements, earth, fire, air, or water. 5 signifying integration, the 4 limbs and the head that controls them. 7, the most potent of all symbolic numbers because it unifies 3 and 4. So all these numbers are also very, very, what do you call it, symbolic. Yeah, it has a meaning in to the archetypal critics. So then we have gardens. Garden, other images, the archetypes are garden, which is represents paradise. Paradise is a garden. The innocence, unspoiled beauty, especially feminine, and fertility. 3, inexhaustible life and immortality. And still remember the most interesting 3 for me, the image of a 3 is in Avatar. Avatar has the movie, contains a tree that gives life. So this is related to that. The image of the tree, the symbol of the tree means inexhaustible life. And then there are also movies like Eddie Murphy's movie wherein whenever he spoke, a leaf would drop from the tree. So at the end of the movie, almost all of the leaves have fallen from the tree, and Eddie Murphy's character is very fearful because he fears that he will die. Okay, so this is the thing. It's the same thing about trees. It's saying that trees are a source of life. So desert is spiritual aridity, death, nihilism, hopelessness. You can see this in Mad Max. Mad Max movie. You see that it's always located in a desert. Yeah, it represents death and hopelessness. Mountain, aspiration, inspiration, meditation, spiritual elevation. Some of the scenes, for example, are taken in mountains. For example, if you look at what do you call that? Panda, Kung Fu Panda. Kung Fu Panda became spiritually, what do you call that? Spiritually enlightened to the fact that he is a fighter when he was at the top of the mountain inside the temple, Shaolin temple. So these images do not necessarily function as archetypes every time they appear in a literary work. But the discrete critics sometimes interpret them as such, if the context supports an archetypal reading. So if you see movies that support this archetype, then it's okay. You can highlight this connection. But not all movies support the connection. Sometimes we have um, no connection at all between the location and the meaning of the story. Yeah, it's just random. But some of the connections are clear in some movies. So the archetypal mother, the good mother, represents the positive aspect of Earth Mother, associated with life principle, birth, warmth, nourishment. The terrible mother included negative aspects of the Earth Mother, the witch, the sorceress, the siren, whore, Yamia, femme fatale, associated with sensuality, sexual orgies. The soulmate, the Sophia figures, the mother, the princess or beautiful lady, incarnation of inspiration and spiritual fulfillment. Okay, so the Sophia figure is not actually a mother. It can be a mother, but a mother as a best friend, but it can be a princess, a beautiful lady, somebody who is a friend to the hero, whether the hero is a female or male. Okay, but most of the time it will be a male hero. So then we have the figure of the wise old man, a savior, redeemer, guru, and he is knowledgeable. He's full of wisdom, um, and at the same time, he also wants to help. Yeah? Help other people. He's a moral person. He wants to. He's also very spiritual. He also tests the moral qualities of others and make gifts dependent on the test. The old man always appears when the hero is in a hopeless and desperate situation. So he helps the hero recover from his helpless situation. And And then we have the trickster, who is a joker, clown, fool, poltergeist, confidence man, so or con man. So he appears opposite the old man. It seems like the joker is not a good person, but actually the joker is somebody who can have positive influence on the hero, and on the narrative. Um, he serves as a healing function because he can save people. He can um, because he is viewed as being he is viewed as telling the truth. Even though he's a joker, he's a fool, he's viewed as telling the truth, as daring to tell the truth, even in the face of obstacles, and people saying that he's only a fool and so on. But he tells the truth, in a situation, although by way of trickery, and also jokes and so on. So in many stories, in African American stories, American Indian context story, in Malay folklore, we have figures like Kancil and Nujumpak Belalang, who actually tells the truth, but in a more laughable and humorous way, because they are jokers or clown or fool. Now another type of archetypes is archetypal motifs or pattern. Now, this is the narrative style of the story. It concerns the narrative style. The first is creation. Is a story and narrative could be about creation, the most fundamental account of human existence brought about by a supernatural being or beings. Okay? Religions as myths. It's something like the Avatar. Avatar is also about creation of beings other than human beings. So it's a movie about creations as well. And it shows religions, it's implying, and we have narratives showing how people are created. The narratives are implying that religion itself could be a myth, a storyline, a narrative. So another motif or pattern is in the quest, where the hero undertakes a long journey. He has to solve unanswerable riddles and overcome obstacles, and in order to save his or her kingdom. Then we have initiation. The hero undergoes a series of excruciating ordeals in passing from ignorance and immaturity to social and spiritual adulthood, that is, in achieving maturity and becoming fully fledged members of his or her social group. So, the hero has to undergo a series of excruciating ordeals in passing from ignorance to immaturity. It's like Harry Potter, for example. He had to be separated from his um, first of all, he had to be separated from his mother and father. Okay, and then he is transformed um, by the school that he went to, Hogwarts, and then after that he returns and sees the figure of his mother and father and all his friends, even though they are still at Hogwarts. He actually returns to his family in the sense that he meets again with the figures in his family, and they collectively help him fight Voldemort. Okay, now this can also be found in the Lion King. It says Simba. Simba is separated from the rest of the lion pack, and then he goes to somewhere else. He becomes more fully grown, and as he matures, he becomes more, what do you call that, mature in mind. Yeah? And then at last he returns back to his tribe or the lion pack that he belongs to, and he rules over the jungle kingdom. Okay, so we have this motif, this pattern. Now the next motif is the sacrificial goat. The hero with whom the welfare of the people or nation is identified must die to atone for his or her people's sins and restore to the land to fruitfulness. So this involves the hero dying, yeah, and it's corollary to the rite of sacrifice. Um, and then the motive center on the belief that by transferring the corruptions of a tribe to a sacred animal or person, then by killing the scapegoat, the tribe could achieve the cleansing and atonement thought necessary for natural and spiritual rebirth. So, by dying, the hero, um, what do you call that? The hero achieves cleansing for his people. You see this in Matrix. The Matrix is about Neo, right? Neo becoming, in joining the group, of his friends who live in the real world, and then at the end of the movie, end of the franchise, he actually dies. He dies, and he's reborn again, but in another form. And he actually saves his people because of this sacrifice that he makes. And then in more movies like in Narnia, Narnia is also talking about or features Aslan, the lion who dies, but he doesn't die permanently. He is reborn. Okay, and he becomes a rescuer for the kingdom of Narnia. So, and then this is the last concept, which is on individuation. Carl Jung wrote The Archetypes and the Collective Unconscious to highlight the issue of the concept of individuation. Now, individuation is a process that we undergo to become individuals. It involves us recognizing our negative and positive sides. Now, the archetypes connected to this are the shadow, anima, and persona. And how are these archetypes considered or related to individuation? Now, people who have problems with recognizing that they have negative sides to themselves, such as Harry Potter, for example. Harry Potter cannot accept that he is like Voldemort. He is serpent-like. He has serpent-like features. He can listen to voices. He can go to places that are actually that he hasn't been to, but through the eyes of the snake, that is Voldemort, he can experience life. And also, actually, the snake is not Voldemort. The snake is being cared for by Voldemort. But he can see what the snake sees. So uh, at the beginning of the movie, he was very reluctant to admit that he's like a serpent, because it's shameful for him. So he went to Gryffindor, the Gryffindor, um, what do you call that? Gryffindor group rather than joining Slytherin. So um, even though this cat says that he should have been in Slytherin, so he's consciously rejecting his uh, his his negative side. But those who cannot read, cannot accept that they have negative side will experience, as Harry Potter experiences in the movie, uh, a kind of neurosis, a kind of craziness, that will um, be projected onto three other persons. These projections can be divided into three, which is the shadow, the persona, and the anima. So the shadow is actually the person who is the opposite of the hero. Okay, or yeah, the person who is opposite of the person that the person who has individuation problems wants to become. It's the opposite of that individual who has an individuation problem. So it's his enemy. And interesting enough, this enemy was also part of him, that he wants to suppress but cannot. So it projected onto the a person called the shadow. Yeah. So in movies, sometimes we have the hero, the heroine, and the villain. So this actually will kind of can be replaced with figures in this study of archetypes. But the shadow represents the villain, the bad thing that he wants to suppress. Um, so Jung gave the anima a feminine designation in the male psyche. There is also another figure in that is being that is a projection of the the person who has problems with individuation, and this person is the opposite sex. Um, and this opposite sex of the person represents part of himself that he's trying to suppress, which is related to the other gender. Okay, for example, if a male person like Harry Potter, he has individuation problem, he has the difficulty in accepting that he has negative traits, so he projects himself in a female figure, and that female figure is Hermione. Hermione is what he wants to be, but because he's a male, he cannot be like Hermione, a female. And Hermione is somebody who is bookish, who is intellectual, very intellectual, and very likes to read books. Harry Potter cannot become like Hermione because he is too masculine to become like Hermione. So he doesn't. He projects his idea about what he wants to be, which is to be intellectual, to Hermione. He always asks her for spells, and so on. So Hermione is actually Harry's anima. So the anima is a contractual part of the man's psyche and the image of the opposite sex. So for women, if you have individuation problems, you will project your you project your male figure to a man outside of your self, and this man is called animus. And therefore, the human psyche, our mind, is actually bisexual. It has a feminine side, it has a masculine side. So if you choose masculine side, we have to project our femininity onto another figure outside of ourselves. Now, in literature, examples of projections or anima are Helen of Troy, Milton's Eve, and then the anima is a kind of mediator between the ego and the unconscious world of the male individual. It will guide him to channel his unconscious into the right direction. So the third person, the final person here is, or final archetype in individuation is the persona. The persona is something that he wants to be. That the what do you call that? The person who has individuation problems wants to be. And Harry Potter is Ron. Ron is somebody who has a family, who is very close to his mom and dad, who has a large family and very close to all of them. So Harry, if you look at the story, he's always looking for his mother and father because at the time of his toddlerhood, when he was a toddler, he lost his both of his parents, his mother and father. So he kept searching for them. He wants to see them. And in the first movie, I think he saw them inside a mirror. Yeah. So Harry would like to have a family, and therefore he would like to be like Ron, somebody who has a large family. And finally, in the story, he actually gets to be a member of Ron's family by marrying Ron's sister, okay? Ginny, right? So this is Ron is his persona, somebody that he wants to be. Um, okay, so the persona is like a social mask, also what he wants to project to other people, huh? That he is somebody who has a family, um, somebody who's is very social because it's he has a normal family. Okay, it can be a personality. The real history of personality sometimes quite different from one true self. Yeah, but this is what the actor, the person who has individual problem really is. So, anyone here has anything to ask? Anyone here has anything to ask? I think some people have left now. So anyone here, do you have anything to ask? I have something to ask. What other archetypes exist in this world? Can somebody give me some examples of other archetypes that exist in this world? Hmm? Oh, sorry. Okay. Anyone? Are there any other archetypes? Because I didn't include all the archetypes. Um, you can take. Can you say the animals also are archetypes? Um, what is associated with what animals? See lions, singer, right? Singer, lions are the king of the jungle. Yeah, they're considered king of the jungle. There are archetypes because they're considered king of the jungle. Okay. They are considered rulers of all other animals. Yes.
Mm. How about cats?
Black cat.
Friends with humans.
Yeah, black cat is bad omen, right?
Mm.
Yeah. So it's an archetype also. Somebody asked me whether cows are also archetypes. I said that cows, in Indian to Indians are God. They're not archetypes of God. They are God, right? They're not symbols of God. They are actually God. So it is not good to. They cannot eat. Indians cannot eat. Okay, it's okay. So Indians cannot actually. I will have to because I'm recording this. I would like to look at the names also. Okay, so anything else you want to say? Anyone? Um, any other archetypes that you can think about? See, moon, for example, the crescent, the moon. Huh? The moon is archetype for Islam, right? You have figure of the moon, huh? Which is a crescent, not the full moon, but a crescent. crescent is considered Islam. So we also have what do you call that? Croissant. Croissant. The croissant is the bread. This is an archetype of Muslim because the crescent is an archetype of Islam. So the French created the croissant to symbolize the death of Muslims during the time of the what do you call that? Perang Salib or the Crusades. So the croissant is actually not it's a horrible name, but the bread itself is delicious. Um, it's a horrible name because it's actually the crescent. The crescent to it comes from the word the crescent in English. Croissant is in French. It's meant to symbolize Islam, Muslims that were being eaten alive. Yeah, some of the Muslims were also being eaten alive during the Crusades. Because the Crusades is a period, a very bleak period in history. European history also they came to um, the Levant and the Middle East to conquer these places based on the idea that Islam was going against Christianity and also so on. So, but at last they were defeated and they went back to their country. But it was a very long war between the Muslims and the Christians. How do you say? Fox as trickster, yes. Fox. Snake as betrayer, yes. So snake is betrayer. Yeah, I think because it came from the biblical idea, maybe yeah, that snakes, the serpent who tricked Adam and Eve into eating an apple, right? So snake is also a kind of like betrayer. Fox as a trickster, can trick people. We have also another figure in Malay culture. We have the kancil or mouse deer, trickster figure. Mouse deer is actually very very small, a small animal, but it is considered very tricky, very mischievous. Okay. So, other things I want to say? Anything about archetypes? Um, huh? You know, familiarize yourself with. I think you're more familiar with many narratives nowadays that actually came from book like the Divergent, Maze Runner, what do you call that, Matrix. Matrix, I'm not sure, but Maze Runner, Divergent, Harry Potter, they all came from books, and these are all connected to archetypes. Uh, so we can actually, if Malays want to create movies, they can do it. They can take an archetype and then create new movies. Uh, but we are too lazy to do that. We rather uh, go through or write about the same stories, the same narratives. They and you see the same story appearing on television. Yeah. So we need to think beyond the box sometimes. Okay. So anything anyone wants to say? Trees. Can trees be archetypes? Um, the olive branch. Olive branch means peace, right? To give somebody the olive branch means to give them, want to make peace with them. Oh, I think what is this?
Cloverfield, doctor.
Huh?
Clover
Clover.
leaves.
Yeah, but my computer is okay, okay. Was suddenly something else appeared in my computer just now. Okay, clover leaf. Clover leaf is yes, a sign of
Lucky.
lucky, being lucky, right? Clover leaf. Yeah. So trees also can be an archetype. Um, and then the symbols also, if we want to, you can look at symbols like swastika. Swastika. It's actually a good symbol. But because nowadays it's treated with disease, so it has acquired a negative connotation. Uh, um, I'm interested because I'm interested in archetype because you see stories that are told to us in movies like Divergent, Maze Runner, Mockingjay, and what Hunger Games. All of these have elements of archetypes in them. Um, they um, in uh, in Hunger Games, Mockingjay, the bird Mockingjay. Actually, there's no bird called Mockingjay. There's a mockingbird and jaybird. Okay, so Mockingjay is an invention, a new invention, signifying revolution, rebellious spirit of the people. So freedom also. Okay, so they have created their own archetypes in that sense. Um, okay, what else can we say? Okay, I don't. Um, Maze Runner, the archetypes of. It's a story about sacrifices. Huh? There are sacrifices in that story. What else can you say? So you know, if you want to, yeah. So anyone has any question to ask? A question to ask? Any question to ask? No. Okay. Okay. So I will. We will have our. Okay. What did anyone write anything here? What about horror stories? Okay. What about some medium girlfriends that are sharp damsel in distress? Yes, we have a lot of damsels in distress. Can color be considered as well? Yes, because we just went through color, red, yellow. You know why do? Let me just answer this one. Can color be considered as well? Um, in um, in Indian culture, the maybe in Chinese culture, that is the most obvious one. Red is the color of prosperity. Yeah. So no, if you see from the slide also, it is the color that is associated with what does it associate? I don't remember this, but let me see on the slide what is red associated with. Um, Red is associated with blood sacrifice, violent passion, and disorder. Okay, so yeah, in this sense, Indian brides they have to wear red saris. You know? They are mostly wearing red saris. Why? Because they are associated with violent passion, passionate love. Okay, so they wear red, but it doesn't really fit into the Chinese one because Chinese associate red with the color of money. It's similar to gold, right? So you know, something. One thing about this archetypes is that it is not universal. Actually, it claims to be universal, but it's not because some cultures view red as being connected to money, not green. In American culture, green is the color of money, but in Chinese culture, it's red, the color of prosperity. So it is actually not so true to say that archetypes are universal. Huh? Um, so this is the limitation of archetypes. It's not universal. Um, we have many colors. Uh, Malay media glorifies the archetype damsel in distress. Yes, I don't know why, because we need to be rescued all the time. Um, maybe we should highlight female warriors, huh? Female warriors instead of making females seek after man's help all the time. So let's do like Mockingjay or Hunger Games, and then Divergent. They all have female heroes. When will this happen to Malay media? So what about horror stories? Horror stories. Well, I don't know how what archetypes in horror stories. They have the ghost, which is always evil, and most of the cases, if you look at all the horror stories, and this is this a very reliable thing to look at. I mean, is this a very reliable archetype that you should believe in? All the ghosts in Malay horror stories or many horror stories, who are they? Are they male ghosts? No, they're not, right? They are female ghosts. Most of the time, they are females. How is this fair? It's not fair. Okay, because males can become ghosts as well, right? So you have Lamia, you have Samara, you have femme fatale, you have um what other types of ghosts? Look at the Korean ghosts; they're always females. Uh, and then Malay ghosts also. Pontianak, you have Sunda Malam, what is it? Whatever lah. But you can see that female ghosts. Amazingly, why? Why do female become ghosts all the time? Male don't. Okay, so that is the gender bias there. So we can say that females are more connected to archetypes, yeah, in this sense, in a bad way, and it actually. So anyone wants to say anything? Um, you can type if you don't want to say. So if you don't have anything else to say, okay. Um, okay, I have to. I will bid farewell then until next week. But on Tuesday we have a class on Tuesday, okay, because I have to finish up theories as soon as possible. And actually, it's not possible for me to do one theory a week. Some of the theories will have to be, some of the weeks will have two theories. So next week, we are going to study about post-colonial literature on Tuesday and maybe move on to modernism on Thursday. But I will try to make sure that you understand everything before we move on to a new theory and so on. Okay? So we have shortened the day. The problem is we have shortened the weeks. So we have additional topics that we haven't really covered, because of the shortened weeks. So I have already given, I've already put the slides on Itaklim, so you can refer to the Itaklim for the slides. Okay. I will put more slides on modernism and postmodernism on the Itaklim as well, and also produce videos so that you can listen to them. Yeah, in your free time. Okay, so if we don't have any more questions, then I will say goodbye to you. Okay, thank you so much for listening. Okay, thank
Thank
you.
you, Doctor.
I will sign out. Okay. Okay. Thank
Thank you,
you.
Doctor.